Thanks so much for tuning in again, another S2000. Of course, if you found our channel, that's probably how you found it. We do work on other things, I promise. This car came all the way from Jacksonville. Super nice, 07, new Formula Red, beautiful looking car, 70,000 miles, normal driver. It's not a garage queen. I know some people don't like to see that, but it's also nice to see that it's a low mileage, well kept car, but it is driven. It is a real car. So super clean under the hood. Not gonna have to do a whole lot of cleaning under here, if any. Of course, we're gonna make it nice and put the LHT revisions on it. He is supplying his own supercharger kit. We're gonna supply the clutch, the flywheel, and a few other maintenance items along the way, and we'll kind of show you a little bit along the way too. All right, so real fast, you want to see a quick before and after? There it is. Well, that's kind of what it's going to look like. It's going to be a little bit different to that, but it's kind of funny to have two 07 S2000s, both in the same color, same year, and pretty close to the same miles. This has 72,000 miles, this has 71. So the clutch is going to be a massive improvement. This feels like sticky, like it almost sticks and it's hard to push down. So it's going to be a massive difference just in the clutch. Alright, another reason we know the transmission is being worked on, you see a lot of finger marks way up there. Also, these bolts, I think somebody impacted those on because they're so tight I cannot get those loose. So rather than having a potential issue on breaking the bolts or worse, we take it off from the diff.
Yeah, there's the Honda stamp. Well, they didn't see the Honda stamp at first.
Unless it's an aftermarket disc, it felt absolutely awful. But it is an OE disc. We'll know in a minute. Until someone's been in here, because there's a few telltale signs things are loose and not put back together. So you've often seen me complain about the internet not working right. This is a quick speed test. This is with Spectrum right now. Now get ready. Make sure you're sitting comfortable. Watch out. See, it is doing absolutely nothing. Alright, same test again on the T-Mobile. Watch this. Now this is inside the shop in a metal building. You ready? Wha-bam! Full boost.
Where's it at now?
Look at that. So this is not a boost upgrade, this is just standard kit. This is it right here. It's not as high as it was way over 100 a minute ago. But that is LTE.
That's upload though.
Upload.
Good.
Yeah, upload I usually get about 70 plus upload. Download is over 100. So something definitely wrong with Spectrum. I got to get on the check in the office to see if we can get that fixed. So this is the EP2 flywheel. This is the heaviest one. Now it is smoother for drivability, but high RPM. It doesn't allow as quicker shifts. It doesn't rev up as quick. Isn't as responsive. This is the Clutch Masters one. We call this our ultra balanced flywheel. We took their flywheel, which is pretty good already. It is 100% billet one piece. We take it to our machine shop, and he takes it on his race balancer to a much higher RPM and gets it absolutely perfect. Makes this thing as close to perfect as you possibly can get. Much quicker shifts, higher RPMs as you go through the gears, shifts quicker is definitely the way to go. The ultra balancing definitely makes it much smoother. You can often look around the back and find the drill marks, but each one of them that we get, he does a before and after and does a printout of it, and these are unbelievably smooth. So it's close to the EP1 flywheel, by the way. EP1 flywheel is my favorite, but it's kind of pricey. This is about 2 pounds lighter, which is about 12 pounds lighter than this one. Part of our clutch package is we're replacing everything related to the clutch. Well, this is a key component, and it's awesome that it is available to replace on the S2000. This is bolted to the transmission, and the bearing slides on here. As you see on the one that came out, you see the groove on there? Well, you often feel when you press the clutch, you're basically sliding the bearing down here, but this has an indentation right here, and the bearing is popping over this each time. So even when you replace the bearing, you have this step here, and it gives you that feeling in the pedal. Feels awful. You always feel like a click or a lump in the pedal. It's often the bearing running on this You see on this side how much more wear there is. Well, as it gets dry and this wears, the bearing actually rides on this crooked, so it actually accentuates that feeling and it gives you that terrible feedback. So that's another key feature in our package, is this slide right here. All right, we've talked about this again. This is the dust cover. It basically sits around the clutch fork and stops the dust or debris getting in there. Well, as you see, it loses its rubber feel. It gets kind of dry rotted and it cracks. And bits will actually fall apart and end up falling in the bell housing and, you know, getting bounced around the clutch. It's not really going to hurt it. It's not going to jam up the clutch, but we just like to replace it with a brand new rubber piece. And of course it fits back in the transmission much better too. Alright, so the gasket that comes with the Skunk 2 header, we are not a big fan of. We like the header, you've heard us talk about it, never had a problem with it, sold tons and tons of them. They all fit well, they all make power. Well, this is the gasket that we use. This is the factory Honda OEM gasket. It's a little bit more money, but it's definitely a better product. It fits perfect and you're not going to have a leak. What do we got? Anything good?
Yeah.
Don't look very heavy.
No, not heavy at all.
Did you go through it for your video channel?
No, I didn't do my unboxing.
Check Bruce's channel out. It's an unboxing. It's got 40 million views. So many cool things on there.
We unbox all kinds of stuff. The
ECUs.
variety is what gets everyone to watch it.
Yeah, car stuff, China cups, bicycle parts, motorcycle parts, anything. the most diverse unboxing channel you've ever seen. And he has his own tape company too, so he tapes everything back up. You'll never know it's been in there.
Factory spec.
We joke about it, but that would be the best thing ever.
Factory spec. Right
Factory
there,
spec. He has every brand of tape.
Yeah,
You never know it's been in there.
250 different rolls. Oh, no, I guess it's
No, dog's in there. See that UPS is changing the dog community.
We're making dogs like us.
Yeah, they like the guy in brown, but the guy with the USPS outfit still chases those. All right, so you see how well that fits. It's nice and snug on there, and it's the right taper to fit into the catalytic converter, which is the, you know, is a flange. It's like a taper. It matches that. Another reason to stick with that flange. All right, go. All right, so one of the more enjoyable things about doing a fuel pump is having to take all the plastics apart. Well, this had a aftermarket hardtop on it, which means it had these brackets over here. That's as far as the top will go without rubbing those brackets and damaging anything. So it makes that little workspace even tighter. So not as much fun as it could have been. Here is the fuel sending unit. We got to change the fuel pump in this. We have a much stronger fuel pump now. It's another Walbro product, but it's stronger than the GSS 342. Allows us to make a little bit more power, a little bit more safely. We're not trying to max out the power. We're trying to have enough in reserve so that we're not running the injectors at 90% duty cycle. All right, so this is the existing exhaust. They are designed to clamp together here, and I can't tell you how many people position that clamp down, which just, it looks awful. I don't like a clamp there anywhere. I really wish they came up with a better system. Maybe make it one piece and put the clamp behind it, put a clamp behind the muffler so you don't see it. But we can't leave that looking the way it is. It just looks awful. So we're gonna rotate that clamp behind it with the nut sticking down. Problem is right now, the nut is on the back side, so if we rotate that, the nut will be on the top and you'll be a little bit more hard pressed to tighten it. So flip the clamp, flip the bolt around, roll it around there, put the bolt downwards so you can tighten it this way. It'll look so much cleaner than that.
Well, along with all the stuff they used to try and seal this, it looks like a bag hit it at one time as well. I'm going to see if I can't get that off to make this look a little better. Alright, there's the back side of the pipe. There's a little bit still in the clamp, but stuff's really hard to get off. There's the front side, you see. As soon as it focuses up. And to the other side. I don't think I got a view of both of them together, but that looks much better.
Alright, so just as we always do, these are brand new injectors. I don't have any issues with them, but in the past I've occasionally had an injector where it'll be flowing less than the rest and it will affect your tune. So I just like to run them. I know a little 50-cent injector machine, it does a good job. It can tell us about the spray pattern and actually balance one through the other. We'll see how close they are. So let's go ahead and put them in and check them. Alright, so I don't know if you remember one of our early episodes, after we bought this, the fuel pump wouldn't keep up, so we actually changed it to a Walbro. These are 1000cc injectors, so when this thing is running wide open, it is hard for a regular pump to keep up. But let's just go ahead and close our valve here. Let's run them on 2, which is idling. Let's put them on 3 and make them work a little harder. See what we are getting right here. Spray pattern all looks pretty even. What I'll do is I'll run these, run them for 20 seconds, and then we're going to see actually how close they are. So over here we've got a 60, 65, 62, and just under 60. What I usually do is run these a couple of times and then see, because it seems like when they sit, whatever cleaning solution or assembly lube that they put in here sometimes affects it. So we'll do that test a couple of times, get them all balanced. If one of them is definitely running low consistently, I'm going to go into our injector stash, keep changing them until we get 4 matching sets. That way I feel a whole lot better about it. Even though he supplied his own kit, still something that we're going to do. Alright, so even after a couple of tests, they're pretty much agreeing. 1 and 4 are definitely down from the other 2. So what I have here is another brand new set. I'm going to run these and basically balance between the 4. I want them to be as close as possible. This is kind of a torture test. I am running them wide open, but it just exaggerates the difference. I did try them on the idle test, which takes a long time to fill up, but it's agreeing. So it's consistent, so it's definitely an injector. So I want to balance these and get them as close as we can. So mismatched, got a little bit better now. This one is still flowing higher than the rest, so I'm going to change this one out, see if we can get a little bit closer on this next run. Alright, so mix and matching, we have 4 that are pretty much on the money, and again this is running them pretty fast and much higher duty cycle than what we would be running. This would be just the full throttle portion, but we do want them as even as possible. It will make for tuning. Obviously, tuning an average, remember if you tune in at say 11 to 1, you might have 2 cylinders at 10 to 1, 2 cylinders at 12.5 to 1. Something like that. Just keep that in mind. You're only taking an average of all 4 injectors when you're tuning purely based on your O2 or your wideband. Just to let you know, this machine, we don't offer an injector service. This isn't an accurate enough machine to do a true before and after. This is just for visual purposes. This is just so we can run this and watch the injector and just know, let's just sonically clean them right there, just to know that they are as close as we can get. And of course, we have multiple sets of injectors. We can take, 8, 12 or more injectors to try and get them all balanced. So just keep that in mind. I don't offer a fuel cleaning service. This isn't, it says cleaner. I won't put that much faith in this machine, but it does a good job for what we are asking it to do. Fuel injectors are in the rail ready to install, and again this is just peace of mind on knowing that you've got the best balanced set of injectors that you could ask for. Again, just part of the LHT TLC, and it's what we do with our kits.
the back valve there. I'm gonna crack that one open.
All right, this should rush into the system, right?
Are we ready to shut it?
All right, so according to this, it is full because it is all the way there.
Ready to do it?
That's all you'll need.
All right.
I'll look for hand signals.
I'll try and give them to you.
Alright, so just to celebrate our new vacuum system for the radiator works. Somebody mentioned it on the YouTube comments, and we just bought one first time using it. It definitely helps. We did do it the old-fashioned way by putting on the bucket and our hose. It kind of recirculates it just to make sure it's 100% circulated. Like to hear the fans come on and off a couple of times. It might not be necessary, but it's kind of that, you know, that the water is circulating properly. As we put a little bit of clear fluid in there, you can see the color change, so you know it's circulating. Again, it's just peace of mind, and watching the temperature and hearing the fans coming on and off, then you know it's working. So we'll celebrate with some LHT blue juice here. A quick sound clip of the integra right there. Big eye. This had an aftermarket top. You got to be very particular how these go back on because they will rub. This is something that we did just to kind of add a little bit of take some of the guesswork out, so we can put that back in the same spot, both sides. Put the top on, because the aftermarket tops never lay even on here. The factory one does have a big foam rubber seal and fits, and it gives you a lot more adjustability, and obviously it's a bit more cushion. So these were on it in that place. That way we can put everything back just the way it came off. We took this off first day, so it's sitting here on our foam. That way it's protected. We don't want to mess around with it, but we don't want to be taking it on and off more than we have to. So now we know where those pads go. We can go ahead and put that on, because it has the bolts that are fastened to this bracket, and it uses the factory latches, but still not perfect fit like the OE, so we just got to make sure we're extra particular with it. All right, it is washed, waxed. Now it looks beautiful. It's ready to go. The hardtop is back on it. This is the carbon hardtop. Looks beautiful on the red. Did our best to square that thing up and put it back in the same spot it started. Again, beautiful car. Super excited to work on this and give it back as nice as possible. Let's do one more look under the hood. So the things that he wanted, of course, was the supercharger. He supplied the supercharger, and we chose the color of the piping, which is what we like to do. We don't charge for this. People think we're crazy, but if you give us kind of like the freedom to choose the piping color and kind of tweak things a little bit, we don't charge you for it. It's kind of like our artistic touch on it, but we decided with wrinkle black. I like the way this looks on red. The red valve cover against the red paint looks good. The radiator is the LHT radiator with the spall fans, but this one looks beautiful. 425 to the wheels, What a beautiful car. So excited to do this. So excited to give it back to him. More than double the power. And again, we treat your car like it's our car. Now, just a quick preview of what is coming up on the next video. This beauty came all the way from California. And when you see the video on this one, you are not gonna believe the miles on this car. All the way from California. We've been talking to this customer for a few months now, going over, finalizing what we're actually doing to it. We're gonna fit his needs. He's supplying some of the parts. He's given us a lot of freedom on this. He just gave us a few bullet points what he wants to do. So stay tuned, look out for this video. You're gonna be blown away by this car. All right, this is the end of the video. Really appreciate you guys watching, subscribing, click the like, click the bell, all that good stuff. George is right here, standing in front of this super bright white car.
It's like, yeah.
Here's Esther. We can't see anything, we need shade, so see you in the next video. All right, we're going ahead.
When we do this once a year, it's hard to remember how to do it.
That's right. All right, so take it back. Sorry, Spectrum. Esther just called Spectrum. Super nice. Walked her through it, tested everything. We did a speed test on the computer, and we're getting 113